Hello guys, I'm Dustin Davis and welcome to the channel. Here you'll find everything you need to know about the Lions. Opportunity rarely announces itself this clearly, yet beneath Detroit's promising trajectory, specific roster gaps continue to surface, creating questions that demand strategic solutions. The front office faces decisions that extend beyond simple additions. Each potential move carries implications for both immediate competitiveness and long-term foundation building. What appears straightforward on paper becomes complex when weighing developmental timelines against championship windows. The choices facing leadership will ripple across seasons still to come. Let's check out and analyze everything that came out about Detroit in the last few hours. Firstly, can I ask for your help? Just leave a like. So many of you watch us daily and forget that thumbs up. It's a humble way to support and helps more than you know. Thanks a lot. Now let's dive into the first of three major roster moves that could reshape Detroit's future. Despite persistent criticism from various quarters, Jared Goff maintains his position as Detroit's undisputed signal caller. Through the remainder of this decade, his contractual commitment extends to 2028, though structured mechanisms could facilitate an earlier departure after 2027 if circumstances warrant such a change. Conversely, contract extensions remain equally viable should his performance continue justifying long-term investment. The volatile nature of quarterback situations throughout the league suggests prudent planning behind the established starter. Detroit should reasonably explore developing a young quarterback within their system, learning from the unsuccessful experiment with Hooker that never gained meaningful traction. Indianapolis has achieved an expected 3.0 beginning after transitioning to Jones, delivering immediate results that mask underlying developmental concerns. Richardson's progression has essentially stagnated since arriving as the fourth overall selection in 2023, hampered by inconsistent usage patterns and injury interruptions that limited him to merely 15 starts across 2 professional seasons. Few players would gain more from a complete environmental change. While Indianapolis could retain him as depth behind their current starter, a trade would serve both organizational clarity and the player's need for a fresh beginning. Given his exceptional physical attributes and the league's perpetual belief in reclamation projects, multiple teams would likely pursue a talent with Richardson's theoretical ceiling. Sports analyst Mike Payton has identified the Lions as an ideal destination, arguing that Detroit could provide the consistent instruction, patient development, and systematic growth that Indianapolis failed to deliver consistently. Payton draws parallels to previous success stories where prospects benefited from sitting, studying, and maturing before assuming franchise leadership responsibilities. The fundamental timeline supports this reasoning. Richardson emerged from Florida as an acknowledged developmental project with tremendous upside potential. Indianapolis accelerated his exposure, inconsistently rotated his playing time, and watched injuries compound existing setbacks. Detroit's approach would emphasize gradual skill building rather than immediate production demands. Richardson would enter a quarterback-rich learning environment in Detroit. Campbell provides cultural leadership and organizational direction. Coordinators like Morton and Brunell contribute schematic expertise. Developmental coaches such as Tuiasopo and Allen offer specialized instruction, and Goff establishes daily professional standards as a proven starter. This collective knowledge base represents exactly what a 23-year-old with untapped potential requires. Payton suggests a modest acquisition cost of a 2026 fourth-round pick. This valuation reflects Detroit's ability to draft the quarterback earlier in future cycles while maintaining the opportunity to develop Richardson without sacrificing premium draft assets. Even if Richardson never evolves into Detroit's franchise quarterback, a credible pathway exists to develop him into a valuable trade asset while he remains younger than many incoming rookie signal callers. Though neither a popular mock draft destination nor a likely scenario, Detroit's patient organizational culture and comprehensive quarterback instruction make career resurrection a possibility that cannot be completely dismissed. While cornerback development takes patience, Detroit's defensive needs demand more immediate attention. Detroit's defensive end depth remains concerningly thin beyond their established cornerstone in Hutchinson. While Hutchinson has emerged as one of the league's most dependable young edge defenders, uncertainty surrounding Davenport, recently observed wearing a sling in the locker room, creates vulnerability should injuries continue mounting. With Davenport's medical status again uncertain and limited active alternatives available, Detroit may face another deadline-driven search for edge assistance. Detroit's salary cap situation provides considerable maneuvering room. Over-the-cap data shows a team ranking among the league's leaders in effective cap space, maintaining just over $31 million in availability, financial capability that would allow Holmes to pursue expensive short-term targets should circumstances require such action. Jaelan Phillips from Miami deserves monitoring as a potential target. Playing the final season of his rookie contract on the fifth-year option, Phillips carries the profile of a high-ceiling edge defender whose career has been disrupted by injury concerns. When healthy, he demonstrates dynamic impact. When unavailable, he represents significant risk. Should Miami struggle or choose to monetize depth for draft capital, Phillips could become available. Following Miami's 31-21 defeat against Buffalo that dropped them to 0-3, the franchise might realistically consider selling assets for future picks. ESPN's Dan Graziano identified Phillips among potential deadline targets, acknowledging his injury history while noting his previous production levels. Phillips accumulated 15.5 sacks during his initial 2 NFL campaigns before injuries restricted him to only 12 games over the subsequent 2 seasons. Through his 3 professional years, he has recorded 22 sacks total, though injury questions have clouded his availability. Through 3 games this season, he had yet to register a sack while managing 9 combined tackles. Nevertheless, his combination of athleticism and power explains why he would interest Detroit as depth opposite Hutchinson. Since Phillips carries a prorated portion of his $13.251 million fifth-year option salary, adding him would not create prohibitive short-term expenses. Holmes has consistently prioritized players meeting both schematic requirements and cultural standards, criteria that have guided recent roster construction, meaning any pursuit would need satisfying both on-field role and off-field compatibility. Multiple variables would influence Detroit's potential pursuit. If Davenport's injury situation stabilizes and Pascal returns from the non-football injury list to provide viable rotation support, urgency diminishes considerably. However, Pascal's skill set focuses less on pass rushing than dedicated edge specialists. Because Phillips would essentially represent a 1-year rental on his 5th-year option, Detroit might avoid surrendering premium draft capital. A reasonable return could involve a late-round selection, perhaps a day 3 pick, or even a 6th-round swap. While he wouldn't replicate the transformational impact that elite pass rushers provide elsewhere, Phillips could pair with Hutchinson to give Detroit additional edge options and rotating pressure packages. Numerous moving parts remain in play, and market development will determine ultimate possibilities. However, with cap room available and clear need contingent on health factors, the Lions would be well positioned to add rental edge presence at November's deadline. Speaking of Miami connections, another Dolphin star presents an even bigger opportunity for the Lions. Detroit retains multiple options should it choose to strengthen its edge rush before the trade deadline, and few available names combine Chubb's potential upside with his injury concerns. Through Week 3, the Lions have managed 4 sacks across 2 games. Meanwhile, division rivals Green Bay have accumulated 9 and Minnesota 5. Selected 5th overall in 2018, Chubb has compiled 42.5 career sacks and 15 forced fumbles throughout his professional tenure. He appeared destined for All-Pro recognition in 2023 with Miami, recording 11.0 sacks and leading the league with 6 forced fumbles until a December ACL injury terminated his season and sidelined him for all of 2024. Now recovered and active, Chubb has posted 3.0 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 3 quarterback hits through his first 3 games, positioning him as a natural trade candidate given Miami's current roster circumstances. Any serious evaluation must begin with his injury record. He suffered an ACL tear with Denver in 2019, underwent ankle procedures in 2021, then sustained a knee injury in Miami during 2023. This cumulative wear deserves consideration, yet Chubb recently turned 29 and continues winning individual matchups. Across 7 seasons, Pro Football Focus credits him with 159 quarterback hurries and 53 quarterback hits, evidence of sustained disruption when available for action. Financial considerations wouldn't present deal-breaking obstacles. Miami signed Chubb to a 5-year, $110 million extension in late 2022, running through 2027. Due to contract restructuring, his 2025 cap hit reaches approximately $12.3 million, Reasonable compensation for a proven starter at a premium defensive position. For Detroit, this figure remains manageable during the current season, while the front office evaluates short-term assistance versus long-term planning priorities. Miami's 0-3 start influences trade calculations significantly. Should the Dolphins elect to reset their approach and prioritize draft capital plus cap flexibility, a veteran edge defender with open market value becomes a logical trading chip. Miami has already invested at the edge position with Phillips and 2024 first-round selection Robinson. This depth could render Chubb expendable if the organization chooses comprehensive retooling. Here's a proposal designed to balance Detroit's urgency against Miami's requirements. The Lions receive Bradley Chubb. The Dolphins receive 2026 third-round pick, defensive tackle Roy Lopez, and a conditional 2027 fifth-round pick that escalates to a fourth-round pick if Chubb records 8+ sacks or plays 60% of defensive snaps in 2025. This package avoids surrendering premium Day 2 selections while providing Detroit with a legitimate complementary pass rushing beside Hutchinson. Miami would acquire cost-controlled rotational defensive tackle depth in Lopez, valuable interior support in their post-Wilkins configuration, plus draft capital that could increase based on Chubb's performance. Hutchinson represents a foundational cornerstone, but requires a dependable partner. Installing Chubb alongside Hutchinson would deepen pass rush rotation options, enable more diverse pressure concepts, and maintain both playmakers' freshness throughout games. Clear injury risk exists, but Chubb's established pass rush credentials could address Detroit's most significant defensive question, assuming his health remains stable. Should Holmes desire a genuine running mate for Hutchinson, this trade pathway satisfies multiple criteria: manageable salary obligations, attainable acquisition cost, and immediate on-field impact, with the standard caveat that Chubb's availability determines ultimate success. What's your take on these three potential Lions moves? Do you think Anthony Richardson could actually resurrect his career in Detroit's patient system? Or is he too much of a project for a team in championship mode? And when it comes to the pass rush dilemma, would you rather see Detroit go after the affordable rental in Jaelan Phillips or swing big for the proven but injury-prone Bradley Chubb? Which of these trades moved the needle most for a Super Bowl run? Leave your analysis in the comments. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe, join our community, and get exclusive content every day. We always bring you everything happening in Detroit. See you soon.